the super new moon in Libra is bringing with it some cosmic chaos. So stay tuned because I'm going to share with you 4 ways you can use this energy to diffuse the drama. Hello, fellow flames. In case we haven't met, my name is Dr. Harmony, and I hope you live fearless, live loved, and live free. In this energy update, I'm going to share with you 4 key things that will help you know and understand how to use this energy of the super new moon in Libra on October the 16th of 2020. But before I do, make sure that you subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you know every time I bring a video live, and also make sure to check out all the resources below and how you can glow forward with me and how it can help you accomplish some of these things that we're going to talk about in today's energy update. So let's just jump in. So I think one of the key things here to say, and the theme of this super new moon, is that it's representing you and everyone coming into this place of facing all aspects of self. It's basically, we have been going through all these test after test after test, and we've been learning all these lessons in love that is pointing us back to the love for ourselves so that we can come into more compassion for ourselves. And that this moon is representing the radiant compassion of the self. But in doing that, it's basically like we've been doing all these parts, and now we're putting it all together at the same time. So if you think about going to a dance class and you learn 3 or 4 steps, and then you put all those steps together to allow them to come into this fluid flow and balance. That's what this new moon energy is doing. And as I mentioned, it is a super new moon, which means it's the closest to the earth. It's also the most intense energy configuration for the entire 2020 year. And basically, a lot of opposing forces are coming into balance, creating a square of energy. And that's creating a lot of cosmic chaos between different planets that I won't fully go into, but it's going to be connected to Mars and Saturn and Pluto, and Mercury's in retrograde. But it also, all of that aligns with every element of the planets. So as we have this in Libra, Libra is all about coming into balance. It is about love and nurturing and compassion and pleasing. But Libras are also about potentially they can create a little bit of chaos and drama. So in this energy, it's going to be about you maybe feeling this crisis mode and you learning how to diffuse that drama so that you can take this compassion of yourself and this air sign being the primary part of this. An air sign represents the expansion, the electrifying, embracement of coming into the highest version of ourselves and the highest version of our truth. And where this is also hitting when I said there's this square of 4 of the elements, they're coming in through 4 major signs of the Libra, the Aries, the Cancer, and the Capricorn. And that is air, fire, water, and earth coming together in this sense of everything coming together. Air, fire, water, earth, representing this air of expansion and expanding us and these things, and the fire being it's going to set our souls on fire. I talked about that in the last video or 2, how we had the Aries full moon, which, by the way, this new moon is the apex of the month of October, where we had the first micro full moon on October 1st, and we're going to have a second micro full moon on October 31st. And this Libra new moon is basically smack dab in the middle, creating this vortex of energy that is sending you into all these aspects of yourself and collecting all of these things. So, Aries in this configuration is about the fire and the passion and the creation, and it's going to create intensity. It's going to create a sense of being able to trigger things in a way that it's activating you to wake up some things that have been asleep, those aspects that have been asleep. And the Cancer part is connecting to these hidden truths and the emotions and all these things coming up to heal during this time. And the Capricorn is the earthy sign and can be very stubborn sometimes, but on the big key that it's bringing to the plate here is it's anchoring that in, it's embodying it, and it's bringing it into form. And this is also happening in our personal lives, in our relationships, including twin flame relationships, and the professional life. And if you took everything I'm saying about like where we are in this timeline of this universal cosmic energy, we're transcending from fear to freedom in this. And it's about us going through this sacred self ascension process that many of us have experienced an acceleration in that, in the connection with our twin flame that has created a twin flame ascension process that is not only healing your wounds, but it's healing the wounds in the relationship status of all relationships, because that's what twin flames are doing in their chaos here, this cosmic chaos within these inner grids, and these dynamics are clearing and purging the old types of relationships so we can come into harmony and harmonic balance with all of our relationships going forward. This transcendence is creating basically a shaman's death, crossing what I've been shown like the rainbow bridge, as we collect all these aspects of ourselves and all our archetypes, and we're doing it in every time, space, reality, frequency, dimension that's creating this rainbow bridge. Basically, we've all heard about crossing into the rainbow bridge is crossing over. And really this transcendence is about crossing over from who you've been to who you're becoming, and connecting to your higher self and letting go of your lower self. And in this, everything that's coming together is, this universal rainbow. So in this particular new moon, I'm seeing it in the sense of a moon bow, that like where at night you can see a rainbow circling the moon, and it's coming full circle all the way around, and that's bringing like this full circle completion to everything that we've been doing thus far. And because this is a bridge of shadow to light, fear to freedom, then anything and everyone can be on any spectrum of this bridge, so to speak. And it's about honoring where you are in that and honoring everyone else around you in that, because everyone's holding a piece of that. So it's going to be very important that you create some kindness and compassion of yourself and acceptance in everyone around you. And so just so you know, like I do have a loving kindness meditation. I'm going to link right up here for you, and also in the description below, and potentially at the end, a card, check at the end or below. And this would be very important for you to create some kindness within, so you can find the acceptance of you and the acceptance and the kindness of everyone in this timeline. And this will help you be able to create more compassion for everyone. But to do that, it's about accepting all aspects of you, to come into acceptance of all aspects of everything around you. And so this is just a beautiful energy, even though it's intense. So let's talk about 4 key things for you to know that you can harness and work on during this energy that will help you be able to use this energy to your benefit. And the first one is being willing to face all aspects of yourself. And what that means is that you're being asked to acknowledge all sides of you, all the parts of you that you've ran from, that you have suppressed, that have been painful. And so basically, coming in from this configuration of this square of, say, Aries and Libra and Cancer, it's really coming in to trigger empathy. So, Aries is not very tolerant and can really come in with this intensity. It's started with the Aries full moon at the beginning of this month of creating this intense shift inside to really feel triggered and frustrated. And this is now triggering the empathy that, say, Libra and Cancer have, so it can release those suppressed emotions and create more empathy with yourself, what you're going through, to connect to this kind and compassionate parts of you and awaken all of the parts you've suppressed. It's a time that we're putting closure to the past, at least if you've been on this journey for a while. And if you've been waking up on this journey, your closer to your past is going to also come, but it's going to come quicker. And if you've had anything that's been left undone, it's going to be an abrupt shift, an abrupt coming through. This is why this is going to be so intense, saying it cannot live in this vibration anymore. You cannot be on the fence anymore of this bridge of fear or freedom to get to freedom. And you can't question this anymore. You're going to be shifted and pushed kind of off of that. And, this is triggering so many people's emotions right now because they're letting go of things that are identities to themselves of who they've been, or even identities as an example, like when I let go of being a chiropractor in practice, that is an identity that you connect to as to who you are, when it really isn't who you are. It's something you've done, but it becomes a part of you because you've integrated with that as being a part of you, and you've been known as that and identified as that. And so we're letting go of these identities, and we're being asked to face all the fears that we've ran from, of being judged by others, not speaking our truth in fear of the judgment. But what is important here to understand in these aspects of yourself, when you can accept where other people are on that spectrum of this rainbow bridge and in all these parts and all these aspects, you basically got to remember they're showing up to become an aspect of you. And if you don't like where they are, they're hitting you either in a direct connection in order for you to bring basically more acknowledgement to that side of you in a way that you can let that light shine that you've suppressed, or it's coming in the contrast of you and it's triggering you in such a way that it's forcing you to awaken a side of you that you have numbed and you haven't allowed yourself to feel. So it's teaching us basically lessons of love, and for us to be focusing on now our bright spots within, and to love all of our shadows or all the sides that we have not allowed to come forth and to feel. And so again, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So whether you can see this energy as a time of beauty, a time of coming into the beauty and the greatness of this kind of full circle closure of some things and letting go, so you can create the space for the new identity and your new truths and your new beloved from a higher place, even if that means letting go of the twin flame experience, the stories, and those things can go on and on, the wounds of the past, the childhood wounds, which, by the way, make sure to check out my Reprogram Your Childhood Wounds online course below. It's going to be a very powerful tool to help you with if you're trying to still let go of your shadows that are being triggered and that are triggering your core wounds that you haven't healed yet. So the second thing that is important to know, so you can use this to your benefit, is to understand that as you awaken, your aspects of yourself, that is creating this concept of an integration of all your archetypes. And that means that you're infusing your contrast and you're bringing like this neutrality between your polarities, and you're transcending the duality. That when you surrender and let go and stop fighting this process of cutting off a side of you, that you can actually integrate with it and it becomes a part of you. And then in that is creating what I mentioned about the acceptance of it. And therefore, when you surrender and you come into acceptance of it, then the resistance goes away that is created the separation from you and it. And now you can integrate with it. You can become one with it. And you're moving from this duality that your resistance is creating, and you're creating a unification and a unity between you and all of these things and these parts that you have separated from. And in that, I'm going to use the divine feminine here as an example because it's the easiest to illustrate. But what really is happening in you waking up all sides of yourself and you're integrating with these archetypes you're coming into this passionate side of your maiden. You're coming into the mother side of creation. You're coming into the crone of your wisdom. You're coming into this queenhood of this sense of being able to receive and kind of command authority, in a sense that you might still have some control there, but at least you're taking responsibility for your own self. And as you move into that and you kind of pull some of those parts together, you start stepping into that high priestess energy that says, I know my truth. I know my power. I know my abilities. I own my spiritual gifts. And then you kind of move through this place of balance and all of these things, which is what this energy is helping do. You might shift through all these aspects and be on the polarities and feel like you are bipolar. One day you're this, one day you're that. One day you're pulling out the child in you, and the next day it's like, let's get real. And one day you are being creative, and the next day you can't seem to get it together, and it's like, I need to rest. And what that's doing is it's moving us into the goddess energy. And whether you're male or female, we're anchoring in the divine femininity, and we're awakening the divine femininity. And from a divine feminine standpoint, or a female, doesn't have to necessarily be gender for sure, but we are coming into grace, gratitude, and graceful power. From a divine masculine side, basically, that is allowing them to tap into more of a voice and have more connection to emotions and be able to express more. And this is then allowing them to also regain their own power. And so when we can come into the acceptance of all of these parts and we begin to integrate with them, then we become in this basically wholeness of where we've separated from, and we become more complete within. And this is part of this completion I'm talking about, and this is part of one of these parts that I mentioned in this energy. So it's so beautiful if you can think of yourself of integrating with all of this and allowing all this to happen rather than fighting it. It will set you up right now to become your greatest version of you. So the third thing to know as to how you can use this energy to your benefit is that you are embodying your divinity. You're becoming one and whole and complete with self, which is allowing you and saying that you have begun, if not already, aligned with your own truth, your highest truth. Because in this transcendence, we're going up in vibration, and we're going up in our clarity, and we're going up in our awareness, and therefore we're going up in our vibration, and we're going up in what we know, and we're going up in our truth. And going up in our truth at this time and embodying the divinity within, our source energy, basically, the divine, the innate intelligence that exists in the universe and this universal time of energy that we are embodying and bringing into form. And in that, we're aligning with that truth. That's helping us to align with our own voice. That's helping us to speak that truth with certainty and clarity. And that means we're then standing in our power with that. And this is how we're embodying that source energy and bringing into form those lessons of love and that compassion and the self-love. And this is not only helping us, again, accept all of those parts and integrate with the archetypes, it's allowing us to bring into form basically our highest cosmic blueprint, the soul's assignment that it came here to experience, and everything it wants to do, everything it wants to be, and everything it wants to have. And you also, as you embody this and you come into the knowing of this and you come into the truth of this, then with certainty, you start to recreate who you are from a higher place, from a higher knowing, from a higher space, that you're not separate from who you are, and you're not allowing the interference of the judgment of other people to be placed on you to doubt yourself, to doubt your journey, to doubt your gifts. So check out below a link to my Reinvent the New You online course. It is an amazing course in this timeline that if you've been doing some work and you've done a lot of past life clearing and removing energetic cords and completing your soul contract, which, by the way, I have free resources below for those things as well. But and you're ready to recreate this new identity using your highest divinity, then this Reinvent the New You course will really help you begin to bring into form who you are. And you're doing it anyway. It's just a matter of when you can put intention behind the thoughts, feelings, and the actions of awareness, that will heighten your ability and the power for these things to manifest, to come into form, and to become a part of your reality. And so while the key emphasis here is for you to come into this alignment with yourself and this whole, complete, loving person. So when somebody says, how can I become whole? What does wholeness mean? What does coming to completion of myself mean? Everything I've said up to this point is a part of that. And that's union of self. And you got to create the union of self to create the reunion with your beloved, that being twin flames. And, highest, I've been shown to teach the highest vibrational equal mirror person of this lifetime for you, so that it's a mirrored match to who you are, because you will attract who you are. And anything less than that is you not accepting and what you desire and deserve and being worthy of it. And so why settle for less than that? And speaking of unity and reunion, I have to say this because this is just so beautiful in this timeline. My son is getting married on Saturday, right in this new moon energy here, to his twin flame. So if you have not been following me on Instagram and potentially, Facebook, and my business page, Twin Flame Expert, make sure to check out, because I've been posting about their union and some things about, building up to the countdown of their wedding and their reunion that's this weekend. And it's been a 1.5 year long planning of a wedding, and then it's been years of coming into the making. So this is kind of for me, because they originally were going to set a different date that got realigned with and their time, like what was available for their venue that they were renting. I look at this now going, holy cow, at first, because they wanted to choose 1010. And my son's like, oh, my mom's going to love that number, but it was booked. And so now I can see the shift in this is in this apex of this energy of this balance and unity and oneness and alignment. And, my son has been one of my greatest teachers in this life. There's so much more to come in sharing how the twin flame flow and synergy we've had his whole life. And I don't know, there's talk of a documentary coming of this because of how impactful it is in the story of him. In fact, I have some personal things to share with him and his twin flame this weekend, and kind of my own process and my own healing of my connection with him that needs to come up in truth, to be shared, to be discussed, and some emotions and feelings that I feel guided to get out on the table and be cleared. But when most people ask me, well, how did your son do it? Well, trust me when I tell you he's had his own karma to clear. But I also want you to know that's where, like, as parents, or as some of us that's been around a while, we've been clearing that pathway to help the ones coming behind us not have to do as much. And that was part of our sacrifice that we made and different things. And everybody has a part of that spectrum. So there's more information, just kind of a side note, coming as well about like twin flames, having twin flames and as children. And I have a lot of information to share. So that was a side note. But anyway, like, I can't wait. I'm excited. So make sure to follow that on the social media links if you would like to see more. So the fourth thing to know during this intense, impactful energy, this is all about coming from this fear into the freedom. And the freedom really represents that we're stepping into self-sovereignty. And self-sovereignty is really the personal empowerment, the personal freedom unleashed, because we've let go of our bondage, we've let go of our baggage, and we've let go of what's holding us back from connecting to that highest truth. The ultimate liberation here of really owning who we are, owning our life, and being the leader of our light, the leader of our life, and the leader of our truth, in certainty, in power, in creating a lot of justice around us, and knowing that when we reach this level of sovereignty within ourselves, that we know and we trust that everything that we have worked for has come to fruition, and it is coming into alignment. And now that we trust that we'll attract everything we need for that journey, and that we operate from those law of magnetism, that we will magnetize and attract that what we are. And I want to say something I mentioned here with my son getting married, and this concept of union and relationships and new types of relationships. I've been seeing this a lot with people around me, and also people I've been working with. This concept of monogamy and polyamory and everything in between, and people question their sexuality. And what I want to say about all of that, the reason that's all happening in this unity and sovereignty of self, at the end of the day, we're trying to create sovereign relationships. And in sovereign relationships, that's no longer even your typical monogamous relationships. It's a sacred union that is beyond the idea of monogamy or polyamory, because there's a lot of polyamorous people that are out there that haven't healed their wounds, that now have a collective group of triggers going on amongst a group of people that need to come back into the self and heal themselves. And that sometimes going into the polyamorous relationship is kind of potentially also running from like fully into the self. And yes, it might feel sovereign, it might feel free, and might feel limiting to be with one person. But what you got to do is, in that limitation, not think so much about it being this bond in a sense that says we are property. We have to get married. And, you know, I've been working with some twin flames that have either been married and wounds are coming up to clear. I've been working with twin flames that have been with their twin flame and done some work, and like living together now for like at one particular couple, it's like 1.5 years, but the wounds had not been healed. And all these wounds right now are coming to the surface. The hidden truths are coming up. And it's now a manner of, like, even though like they might have been in what we would think of as the sacred relationship, they're not in the sacred union because it's not two self-sovereign people that come in empowerment and create a sovereign togetherness of free of the past. The wounds still haven't been healed is what I'm saying. So to become sovereign, you got to heal those wounds, to heal your soul. And then in doing so, you need to seek and connect to a partner that is sovereign as well, and that's healed within their own soul, so that when you come together, it's sacred. There's no sense of attachment to, I'm going to control you. I need you to fill this void. And that's where I was going with this. Some of the divine feminine I have seen, they look at their twin flame that they might be with, and the twin is saying, you know, like, I need to find myself. I need to like experience me, and I don't know if I ever want to get married again. And you know, the divine feminine is upset, saying, you know, well, you did that with before. Why can't you give me that? And because you can't, you don't want me, but that's still a wound within the self there. That's not giving each other the freedom to be who you are. And that's what I'm saying in the sovereignty. These relationships have to be given the freedom of self, the freedom of personal liberation, and the freedom to express and be in a place that you don't feel bound by anyone's energy attaching to you and needing you, or you needing them. And that's how I release this sense of letting go. And I'm just here to tell you, you know, I've seen this take place between my son and his twin, and they are both sovereign, and they are both empowered, and they are in ultimate liberation. And now they're coming into the union of that. And it is beautiful to watch. It is beautiful to watch. And I also want you to know, in that, you can, like, it's seen within them, and they light each other up, and they are each other's teachers and best friends, and they're living it. And so my goal would be that we all step into the sovereign self to have a sovereign relationship. So make sure that you like, comment, share this shine. Let me know how this energy is impacting you. And make sure to check out this weekend, because I will be posting pictures of the sovereign wedding on Saturday. And I send you all loads of love, light, liberation, and sovereignty. May you always face your fears, find freedom, and glow forward on fire. Namaste.